Craziness. How you doing, friends? This is the 0DTE morning market analysis. You know, tariffs have ruled the news all week, as well as the VIX. I mean, the VIX has just been nuts. I mean, right now it is still in the 40s. Can you imagine that? And of course, the media has been calling Trump's behavior and his strategy erratic. But I've got a theory. And, you know, while they say that, or mocking that it's 4D chess or anything like that, I believe that it's a global power play. And his erraticness is really a way to leverage entry into that play. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I first want to talk about our strategy, which is the 0DTE asymmetric, out-of-the-money butterfly, where we're taking small risk, large potential profit. We trade with zero anxiety because of that low risk. We never draw down very much, hardly at all, actually. Our game really is not to lose and put ourselves into a position when the market deals out those probabilities that move the needle. And we're there. We are the needle. So anyways, yesterday was another crazy day. Dropped, I don't know, yes, S&P dropped something like 120, 150 points, something like that. Did a full recovery and then has just been going sideways since then. And of course, the tariff news has been in there to kind of batter the market around a bit. But let's decode this strategy. We're going to stage right now. We're staging Batman flies, mostly because we're out of the range of any of our normal playbook. And that is really the best way to play it. But you have to play it right. You can't take too much risk. And that's what we will be talking about. So welcome to 0DTE Tariff Chess. Can't make this stuff up. But anyways, here's the VIX. We can see we're currently at just under 44 on the VIX. And, you know, this is our playbook. On the left-hand side where you see the classic out-of-the-money fly, that's where we're normally setting up our standard trade. And right now we're well above where we would even consider this trade. We are now in Batman territory. Hold on. Need a swig of coffee there. We're now into Batman territory. What is the Batman? The Batman is like doubling up on the out-of-the-money fly, but it's a little bit more than that. We put on the Batman when volatility is so high that it's very difficult to tell whether or not we have any kind of directional hope. In fact, direction can be all over the place. We can have intraday swings and really outsized moves, as you've probably noticed. And so we put the Batman on, but the important thing is that when you put that on, if you put on two out-of-the-money flies in our standard notation with a standard risk to reward, you're going to end up with a fly that doesn't have the same kind of risk to reward because the debit doubles up. So what we do is we push it way further out so that we have a similar risk to reward even with two flies on. So that means that where normally each fly would be like a 1 to 9 risk to reward, we're pushing the whole thing out so that the total and each individual fly are actually 1 to 16, 1 to 18, so that the total combined risk to reward of two flies is around 1 to 9, 1 to 8 maybe. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does, because that's an important point. If you put too much risk on in the middle, then you're forced to manage that risk, and we don't want to do that. In fact, our entire strategy is really built around the fact that we do not manage risk, we only manage profits. And that's what allows us to keep the low drawdown, low volatility of returns, etc. So keep that in mind, and we'll look at that in a little bit more detail. But first, let's go to our normal thing. We look at market direction. We can see here that well, man, look at those moves. That's just unbelievable. In these last few days, this week has been crazy. Now, I guess one could say that we're probably recovering. We don't know. We don't know what the next thing that's going to come out of Trump's mouth. What's the next level of his strategy? I have no idea. Well, I have a good plan, and that's actually what I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes. But I'm going to say that if we're going to pick a directional bias, I think that right now it is up. It's above the moving average. And our market structure, I haven't actually set up for today, but overnight we really haven't done very much, kind of going sideways. And our market structure, let's see, here's the beginning of the day right here. Let's go to the volume profile. That's probably more in line with what we need. So we're in the midst of this very large node here. We've traversed both sides, huge volume well here. We ripped right through this very low volume well here, which is really incredible. Provided almost zero resistance, and both up and down. I expect that, man, you look at this move here, and then we're kind of right in the middle. There's just been, I don't know what you call this pattern. It's craziness. But I think that we are going up here, and we're going to head for this volume node, which is bounded by about 55.23 on the ES and 56.50. So I believe that that's where we're going. We found super resistance here yesterday and the day before, but we're going to give it another shot. I think the world's coming to some sort of reconciliation on what this strategy is all about, and I'm going to give a shot on what I think it's all about, and then go from there. All right. So this is my theory. Is Trump playing 4D chess? I think so. I think there is a bigger plan in mind here. I think that he's doing some sort of combination between Trump and the art of the deal and Sun Tzu's art of the war. So Trump is taking his brashness, his boldness, and then putting it out there, trying to create leverage. And then behind the scenes, they're talking about a more precise, indirection of the art of the war type strategy. So that's my theory. So on the surface, what most the media sees is Trump's, I guess they would call it bullying, pushing the world to the brink of disaster, and that's what it appeared to be. But on the lower layer, what that is causing, that leverage that he's done, he has forced everybody to now realize, hey, we got to deal with the U.S. and we don't want to deal with these huge tariffs. We don't want to deal with the cost. And he's compelled huge companies to bring back manufacturing to the U.S. In fact, if you start tallying it up between Saudi Arabia and Apple and others, I mean, there's a total of $4 trillion already committed to bring back to the U.S., bring back manufacturing. So that's a big deal. A lot of people aren't really paying much attention to that. And then the next layer is kind of realigning global alliances by isolating China. And what you saw there was that 75, I think, reported even more, maybe 80, 85, 100, who knows, countries have now decided that they're going to come to the table and renegotiate their trade deals, even though there is still a 10% tariff out there. So now that's not going to all happen overnight, obviously, because there are all these complexities and political considerations and costs and supply chains that they have to work out. But all these countries have decided to be on the side of the U.S. So this is that global realignment I'm talking about. And China is more or less isolated out there as being the lone bad actor deciding to fight. Now, they're going to find themselves in a precarious position because if the rest of the world is aligning with the U.S., China now has lost that kind of segmenting that they've been trying to do over the past several years with like BRICS. And that is breaking up. And so they're going to find themselves in a really tough spot, right? So then the very last layer of that is, so that's our new trading block. So you get what I'm saying? BRICS is kind of gone. And now there's this new trading bloc that is everybody against China. And so the fourth layer is this control of the global financial system. And this is the crazy part, because I know that Trump signed some stuff there, basically backing the IRS off of any kind of stable coin and DFI, distributed financing, with crypto and stuff. But I believe that there's a strategy there with a dollar-backed stablecoin and Bitcoin strategies to reassert dollar dominance. Now, that might sound crazy, but if you've been following what Trump has been talking about, he's really been leaning on crypto. And I don't know where that's going. I'm not like a big believer in that, but that appears to be part of his leveraging. I've also, at the same time, China has been accumulating gold. And there's some evidence that they've accumulated something in the order of 20,000 tons, which is a huge, huge amount, maybe even more. And I think their plan is that they're going to present to the world a dollar-backed yuan and try to attract everybody to that. But I don't think anybody really trusts China, to tell you the truth, no matter what they have in terms of some stable idea. It's kind of tough to look at a country like China and say, oh, yeah, we trust you now because you have all the gold. I think they'd rather trust the United States and their position with debt. I know that sounds totally wild, but that's the way it is. So anyways, what are we going to do? Well, with the VIX at in the 44 range, here, let me go back to the big head. We don't need to look at these charts very much more. Let's see. I'm going to go back to, let's look at the Thinkorswim, and I'll show you an idea of what a Batman might look like. There we go. It's kind of not filling up the screen very much there. Let's fix that. There, how's that look? Interesting. All right. So yeah, this is a Batman. So we have a call fly above the market, a put fly below the market. Thinkorswim hasn't really caught up to the SPX yet because the market's not open yet. But this is how I would form it. These are 250 wide flies, and you can see I've priced them such that their risk to reward is way down there. So if you did the combination of the two, 235 plus 360, that's about 575, 580. So at 50 wide minus 5.8 equals divided by 5.8. So that's a total of about a 1.76 risk to reward. That's on the low side of acceptable. I'd rather have 1 to 9. So if you could get the combined total of these 250 wides around $5 or $6, $6 and change is a little bit much, but that's okay. It's still a good play. This is the type of risk to reward we like to do. We're looking for extreme moves to either side. We want to avoid having to manage the debit in between, and yeah, that's the kind of play that we'd be putting on. All right, so let's go back to the big head. All right, so as I said, it is a 4D chess play. The ultimate goal is control of the world monetary system. Wrestle that away and maintain that. Well, it's not that you have to wrestle it away. It's just maintaining it by gathering up all your friends around you and building the ultimate trading block. And this goes against a little bit. I've watched some analysts that have talked about how you actually deal with China and other Asian countries, and they've claimed that this is just the wrong way to go. A punch to the nose is not necessarily the best way to influence. They'll just sort of hunker down and not play because they have this sort of standing that they have to protect. And there should be a more precise scalpel-like approach rather than the sledgehammer. On the other hand, you know that Trump has been dealing with President Xi and others over that world, and has a personal relationship with them. And I don't think that they really mean that they want to go into some physical war. They said in some sort of communique that they'd be willing to go as far as it takes to assert their dominance. But I think once they find and reassess and find that they're really standing alone, that's going to not necessarily be in their best interest. So it's crazy. What is for sure is that this is all going to keep volatility high, and our plays really right now on that edge case, that Batman edge case, seems to be the best play right now. You just want to keep that risk super low and just see how it all plays out. With those big moves, you're bound to hit one of those profit tents. Take your profit. If you don't hit it, it's a small risk, and you're all good. So there you go. There's my assessment for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Why don't you comment down below? Tell me what you think about my 4D theory. It's not much different than what I've talked about over the past several weeks around tariffs and this global strategy. I've been thinking about it quite a bit right from the beginning of the year, and I think that we're going to experience this kind of volatility right in through to the summer. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, and see how after 90 days we start developing those agreements with all those countries, that 75 plus countries that have decided to side with us, this new global bloc, trading bloc, and what kind of power that wields. And that's really going to tell the story. So anyways, that's it. Hope you all have a great trading day and a great weekend. This is Coach Ernie, and I am out.